Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right. Um, in the midst of this pandemic crisis, um, yeah, California, uh, like I said, I'm really gonna evaluate should I move out of California. I really am based off some of the shit that they doing because at the end of the day, California is going to get turned into a war zone eventually. Uh, it's just an accident waiting to happen, but I'll explain that later on. Now, we already know how the lamestream media portrays certain situations, how they pick and choose, cherry pick stories that they want to put out. It all depends on how a person comes out looking in the situation, how they depict certain people. At the end of the day, black people, you can continue to be in denial about what's happening. Young uh, black people my age and older black people, you can continue to be in denial about what's going on, but that's going to be your downfall. The sooner you accept things for the way they are, the better off you're going to be. When one, you understand that we have no allies, we cannot trust nobody. It doesn't matter whether the person uh say they are friends or not. We don't have no allies. It's being proven more and more that we have no allies. Like I said, you got people trying to use us as guinea pigs, for so-called vaccines, so you got to be careful. I keep telling y'all that. Anybody that don't want to listen, that's on you, because I'm trying to get this through y'all head, but some of y'all have thick skulls or you just in denial. You have to get out of this mentality that you can save everybody. You have to get out of this mentality where you have to forgive everybody. You know, you have to get out of this mentality that you have to help others that don't look like you more than people that do look like you. Black first, be one, always. And if you guys have that mentality where you need to cape for everybody else, then you need to, for real, you need to distance yourself from us. Not social distance yourself from us. Because it's to the point I have nothing to talk to y'all about. If you want to continue to make excuses and defend racism that's inflicted on black people by not just whites, but just all groups, if you want to continue to put your cape on, cool, because you're gonna end up like Superman versus Doomsday. But this time, and in our case, you ain't gonna have nobody to revive you. So I'm just kidding. I'm just keeping it 100. Keep not listening. But let me provide to you more proof about some of the things that they're saying and why many people believe that we are a target of the Corona Ramona. Now, I'm going to give y'all some reports later on because I'm going to tie them all in together, you know. But I want to talk about a story and a video that I seen. Now, in case you guys don't know, there's a video that surfaced just yesterday of a police officer in Baltimore, as usual, Baltimore. Now, apparently, I don't know whether he has the Corona Ramona or not, but he's going in a black neighborhood, look like some projects, visibly coughing, walking through the hood coughing, and people get him on video. Now, we haven't heard anything from the Baltimore PD, and it doesn't appear that the mainstream, lamestream, manipulative media has picked this story up. And we know if they do, they're gonna put a spin on it, just like they did with that cop that was following these two black men around, who had on masks and who was basically complying with what they asked him to do. But of course, they do the typical spin. The police department say, oh no, you misinterpreted the video. The video doesn't, show what really happened. Yeah, sometimes, the typical answer. Okay, typical answer. You know, just like this cop. This cop is purposely going to a black neighborhood, coughing, and I guess if he got it, he want them to catch it. But they got him on film. And of course, this cop is a member of the Mayonnaise Nation. At the end of the day, people want to play these games about the cops can't be corrupt, in which that's been proven time and time again. The police departments have been corrupted pretty much since they were formed. Because keep in mind, the police department really got formed off what you would call the slave patrol, race soldiers that basically took it upon themselves if they saw a slave trying to leave a concentration camp, a concentration camp, whatever you want to call it, a slave farm, they would try to bring them back. And sometimes they wouldn't bring them back. Sometimes they would torture them and kill them, or sometimes they would cut off ligaments, cut off, their toes to where they couldn't run. So, it's horrible and haunting history, and then that make you just be like, wow. Which once again they still don't want to acknowledge, which they trying to dumb down now and try to make it look like it wasn't as bad as the history book says. you know so I'm looking at this situation in Baltimore, to where this cop I'm talking about, he is just visibly coughing on purpose. Now, first of all, he should be fired. And I know people gonna make excuses. Oh, wait till the facts. Cause like I said, you gonna hear a lot of the typical white language. Oh, wait till the facts come out. Well, maybe he really was sick. Well, if he was really sick, then he should have kept his ass home. He should have called off of work. Why take your ass to work if you're not feeling good? So, miss me with that. Now, keep in mind, they have put out reports, you know, uh, concerning this Razor Ramona, saying that the black communities are being hit hard by it. Now, that may be true, that may not be true. But if it is true, well, could this be one of the reasons why? I wouldn't be surprised if these people who first made contact with this, they targeted the black areas, went over there, going to black stores, touching on things, contaminating things to purposely hope that black people would catch it so they can, produce these phony numbers of what ethnic group is catching it the most. I don't go by everything I see on TV. Maybe that's because if there's a rise in the black community, it's because people that don't look like us. Now, keep in mind, reports also came that these white supremacist groups are trying to find a way to use that as a weapon. Real talk. They're trying to find a way to use that as a weapon against, well, pretty much us. But you wonder, is the media telling you the whole side of the story? How do they plan on doing that? Well, could it be because of the cops? They talking about white supremacist groups. Well, let me tell you how some white supremacist groups wear blue. Now, I should have did a story about this in case you guys don't know. I recently went to Philly. Now, there were some reports that came out in Philly that they said that a lot of Philly's police for pretty much the white the white cops that they have. They found out that a lot of them had ties to white supremacist groups, the Klan, the neo-Nazis, just other low-budget white supremacist groups. So could that be what they were talking about? The hate groups that were targeting the black community? Do they mean that hate group that wear blue? Because in some aspects, that the police are hate groups, because a lot of them specifically harass and target blacks. And it's been proven that the boys in blue were the original hate groups. Police have a horrible reputation. I know when you watch these movies like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and all that shit, they'll have you thinking that the police is the greatest thing that a man would want to be, but because they do right all the time and they're completely honest, but in real life, that's not true. Keep in mind, the Black Panthers was formed because of the police brutality. So is that what they're talking about when they say white supremacist groups? Because it's been proven that cops have ties to white supremacist groups. And a lot of cops are trained to be racially insensitive. One of the problems that they had with the Oakland PD is the cops that they were hiring, the white cops, that they were coming from areas of the Bay Area that didn't really have a very high volume black population. And they were coming to Oakland, where Oakland has a high black population, black and other population. So they didn't want to release that information. And then when you would have these issues of reported racial profiling, and they would do a background check on the particular cop, and then they would say, hey, you came from this area. Well, that doesn't have a highly strong black population. So basically these dudes have really rarely interacted with black people. See, these are the things that the lamestream media leave out, because that was a big problem with the Oakland PD. It got to the point to where they wanted to hire cops that was from Oakland, but a lot of times cops don't work in the city that they were born and raised in. Most San Francisco cops usually be from other places. They may be from Oakland, because I knew a dude. He was from Oakland, but he worked for the San Francisco PD. Then I knew another dude. He was from Oakland and he worked for the San Jose PD. Because he did. So it's a big problem, and they don't do deep background researches for these police people. They go as far back as high school. That's pretty much it. They don't do no deep background checks. And they're not checking to see if these cops are tied to social media. They just happen to find out because a lot of these dumbass cops show their face. So that's basically what's going on. But these databases are turning up, saying that a lot of these cops, thousands of them, have ties to white supremacy and white supremacist groups. And why the mainstream media is not reporting this, well, it doesn't surprise me, because they don't want you to know that the very people that may be trying to exercise chemical and disease infested warfare on black people, I'm not gonna say minorities, could have ties to the police department, the FBI, and other law enforcement services. Now, it's funny the mainstream media won't put out those reports, but they show want to put out a video about a black man so-called harassing an Asian, but then they don't put out the videos when Asians are harassing black people. So that's what I'm saying. You have to watch these media tricks, but they don't want you to know that. But like I said, I saw that video. Now, I wonder what the excuse is going to be made. It's going to be some kind of excuse because, once again, mainstream media refuses to acknowledge the fact that the police relations between um, black and white cops, or just cops, period, has been bad for decades. And you pretty much can say over a century. And they don't want to acknowledge it. So that's why, if people wonder why blacks have this disdain and lack of trust for the police department, they already know why. But they love to play these games. And they say, oh, well, cops deserve to be respected. Well, people deserve to be respected. Just because you got some badge and a gun don't mean that you got, you know, for real. You ain't no more important than me. Everybody got a tough job, for real. You chose to be a cop, so don't try to sit up here thinking you supposed to get praise, and don't be thinking that I'm supposed to get on my knees and salute you and kiss the pinky ring because you got a badge and a gun. Because once you put that badge and gun down, you a regular person just like me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it 100. And no telling what you do while you got that badge on, or when you don't, you know what I'm saying? Or when you ain't walking around with that badge. You may be a worse person than me, or you may be doing worse while you got that badge. So why do I have to respect you and what you doing because a certain group of people say so? When you come out the gate feeling like you above everybody and everybody is beneath you. When you take that badge and don't do right by that badge. But yeah, man, this is a serious problem. But once again, like I say, the mainstream media do not want to put out this information because they don't want you to know. But I'm putting the information out. These terrorist groups that they talking about that may be trying to, spread the Corona Ramona into the black community. Yeah, they wear badges. This your boy Town Biz. I'm out.